All right, friends and family, it is fretting lesson time. All right, I'm just gonna go over what I do when I fret my cigar box guitars. I don't know if it's any different than anybody else. It's funny because I was talking to Hot Sauce Guitar Kitchen guy on the phone, and we were talking about this, and now I know the phones are listening to us, like the Googles, and anyway, magically in my feed, the next day was the StewMac fretting guide, I guess it is, whatever, and it's awesome. Like when I was, I don't know, 30 years ago or whatever, 25 years ago, I'm not sure. My wife bought me the StewMac VHS version of their free YouTube. Now it's all free. But back in the day, you had to pay. I don't know what it was. I don't think they were that expensive, but they were gold, and that's how I basically learned, for the most part, was from StewMac lessons. Now you guys can all just go on YouTube, and you're on YouTube right now, or I'm on YouTube, whatever. Um, but anyways, yeah, I ate that stuff up. She bought me the guitar players repair guide, I think it's called, by StewMac, and then these two. They used to have a catalog back before the internet, and in the catalog they had these luthiers would say how they fix stuff, and so they gathered all these together. It was called Luthier's Corner, or no, it was called Trade Secrets. It was called Trade Secrets. The actual articles in there. Anyway, they gathered them all together, and there's volume 1 and volume 2, and I read those. I ate them up, man. I loved it. And so everything I know came from those for the most part. Anything extra came from my friend Larry Morden, who taught me how to build, real guitars. Real electric guitars. That is not. I've never built an acoustic, other than, I guess, if you call these things acoustics. Anyways, so I'm going to go over how I fret my guitar, my CBGs, and I like to have. I'm pretty finicky. I always have been finicky about my the frets on my own personal guitars, and then guitars that I built for people. And so when I started building cigar box guitars, it was no different. I wanted my fretwork to be excellent, and so here we go. Pause. Okay, so what I got here is I'm just going to show you a couple things. Back in the day when I made real guitars have a radius fretboard. Cigar box guitars do not. They're flat. Maybe there's some guys out there doing radius ones, but I don't think I've really seen that, and I've definitely not made any. So when you have a radius fretboard, what you do is you pre-radius your wire using this thing. This is from StewMac as well. It's a wire bender, and you feed a straight wire in through here, crank the wheel, and it comes out like this. The first cigar box guitar I made, though, was I also used a ruler for a fretboard, and I don't know if you guys know it, but this wood is not very good wood. It's very soft wood, and what ended up happening was I was trying to use up some of my old fret wire that I had that was already bent. It literally crushed the corners as I pushed it in. Normally, you overbend them so that when the fret goes in, it flattens out and it keeps the ends down. And what I ended up doing was crushing the corners of the fretboard. I was able to pull them out, and there was a trick I learned where for dents in bodies, where you put you just wet it. You put some water on the dent, and then you hit it with a hot iron, and it'll flatten it out. So I tried it, and it worked. It was amazing. It popped back up, and I was good. I didn't wreck the fretboard. Anyways, that's a side there. But so what I'm gonna do is show you what I do. Normally I like to flatten the fretboard first, and so I have this. It's a level, and then I've got 3M. I think it's 2020 grit on here, or sorry, 220 grit. Sorry, and I'll put it in the vise, and then I'll turn the fretboard upside down, and I'll go shh, 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 shh. I'm not gonna do it with this because it's got the painting on it of the Home Depot, and I want it to stay there. If I do that, it'll knock it off. So I'm gonna leave it. The other thing is on these I like to glue in the frets with crazy glue. So I use this. It's called BSI, Bob Smith Industries. I used to build radio controlled airplanes. You can see some of them up there. The purple one's the first one I built. And so I use this stuff. It's really good quality. It's just crazy glue, but it's excellent quality stuff. It has this nice little what do you call it? Applicator, so you can just put a small amount, a little bead of the stuff in there. And so yeah, so that's what I use. So what I do is I put the frets in, and then I just put a dab along there. Now the problem is that when I do that, the glue runs down the side of the fret as well, and then you can't get the stain. Like if you're gonna stain the fretboard, the glue's gonna show. And on the first one I built, I don't have it here. Normally it's hanging in here. Anyway, it leaves like little light spots because the stain didn't get in. So what I'm gonna do is this one I want to be fairly, like I'm not gonna color it. I am gonna put a bit of this stuff. This is what I stain or seal my necks with. It's called tongue oil. So I'm going to put a little bit of tongue oil. I'm just going to put it on a rag and just wipe it over the fretboard first, just to kind of seal at least the top, so that the fretboard will not get stained or whatever, and not have the marks of the glue, like like the light spots of the glue. I don't know. It kind of looks cool sometimes. Like if you're staining it dark and you do that, it kind of looks like it's a worn-in fretboard, like one that's been played a lot, because normally the middle in between the frets is the part that gets dirty, and then it's a little bit less dirty near the frets, so it has that kind of effect. So it's cool. But anyways, so yeah. Now what I also wanted to show you was this is my fret holder that I made. It's just out of a piece of wood, and I have it numbered 1 to 24, and then I got a 0 fret here. I also have another extra hole. I don't know why. It's just there. This is the fret wire I use. It's medium by, this is CB Giddy, but you can get it from StewMac. You can get it from a number of places. Just make sure you get straight stuff. Because some places sell fret wire on a roll, and it's just a pain. Like, because you basically have to straighten it out and whatnot, and it's just, yeah. So try and get the straight stuff in the tube if you can. So I bought a pound here because I do make a lot of guitars, but you can just buy it by the foot. I think it comes in 1 foot sections or something, and you can buy 3 or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, so that's that. Now what I'm gonna do also, I have a I like to pre-cut my frets so that they're just a little bit bigger than the fretboard. Some people will hammer them in and cut them on each section. I prefer not to do that. I don't know why. It's just me. But what I do is I'll hammer them in a little bit just to get them started, and then I take them over to my fret press, which I'm going to show you later. So what I'm going to show you first, though, is how I cut the frets. So I basically I made this thing. I'm going to just pause the video for just a sec here. Okay, here we go. So I made this little thing out of just scrap wood, and basically it is just a block of wood. I can put the measurements in the description below. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. You can figure it out yourself. But basically, this is the width of a neck here, this one. And what I did was I added just a little piece of, this is some plywood that I have, like paneling or whatever piece that I use for the back of some boxes sometimes. Anyways, so this one is the 3-string, and this one is the 4-string. So it's just a little bit wider. And I call it my fret cutter bench, for lack of a better word. And then also, this is cool. I don't know. I think I showed you this in another video, but this is called a parrot vise, and this is what I do all my hold the guitars in. These are jaws that I made that are cork lined, and it's similar. StewMac sells a guitar holding system, and it's quite expensive. This one I got at in Canada. It's called Busy Bee Tools. I think that's where I got it, and it wasn't too expensive. It was $80 or something like that, but it's been great. I've been using it for years. It swivels. As it locks up, it pinches here, and it doesn't move. Like when it's when the jaws are tight, it doesn't move. So anyways, I'll put this back here. I'm just gonna show you, because I've already got the frets already made, but I'm just gonna show you how I do it here. Now I bought for cutting. There we go. Wait, come on. So I got this at Christmas time. Oops, I guess I got to come over here. This is a fret end cutter, and I got a new one from CB Giddy, and you can also get them from StewMac. You can get them from Amazon or whatever. And I had made one years ago, like 20 years ago, and they're still here. I still use them sometimes, but they're it's just funny, you know, when you get okay. These are from Mastercraft. This is Canadian Tire brand or whatever. And so anyway, I took a regular pair of nippers, and I just I ground this a little bit. Now the problem is over time it's gotten a little dull. I did try to sharpen them, and they do seem to work a little bit better, but I decided to get myself a new one. And then I also picked up this. This was at these, and these are the ones I use to do what I'm going to do right now. These are also nippers, but they're not made, like, they're not ground down, so they're it gives a little bit of a space, and that's what I want because I want them to be just a little bit wider than the fretboard. So what I do is I basically, if it's a 3-string, which this one is, I put it up against the 3-string one. I just come in and I cut right like that, boom, like that, and then I just do a bunch. Like, so I just go, so I don't have to. What I was doing was like lining it up on the fretboard, and it was just taking too long. So this way I can do, you know, a whole bunch of them pretty quick. For the most part, once in a while one will fall on the ground. They basically stay there, and there's one last one. So I just cut basically 10 of them pretty quick, and now they're the right size for me to use on the fretboard. And basically they are just a teeny bit longer than the fretboard, like that. Oh, I guess you can't see that because I don't have my camera showing. But anyway, believe me. So there's one last step that I got to do, and this is called a fret nipper. You don't necessarily have to use. There it is. I think I got it from StewMac, but again, I can't remember where these came from. But basically, it takes the tang off. You put it in here. There's like a little slot that it sits in, and then I just take the tang off, because when you cut it with these things, they sometimes it mangles the tang a little bit, and then as you go to press it in, it gets bunged up in the slot, and it won't go in properly, and won't sit properly. So I just do this to each one of them, and I prep them. And then once I've got them prepped, then I put them in the thing here. So so that's how I do that. And basically, I usually try to put as many as I need on the fretboard. This one has 20, so that's what I'm doing. So anyway, that's it. That is it for the prepping the frets. And I'm going to move on to the next bit. I'm just going to show you what the fret looks like. It's doing some weird stuff here. See, so I basically take the tang off of the both sides there. That's what I'm doing. These weren't. I hadn't done the tangs on these. I lied. I thought they were. I'd prepped them all, but I hadn't. So I'm prepping them right now. And so yeah, and that's all. It's just put it in the slot, push it in just a teeny little bit. You're just knocking the edge off, just to make sure that the where you crimped isn't, like where the tang isn't mangled. So that's it. So it's got a couple more to do. I also, you don't see it, but I did put some a bit of the tongue oil on the fretboard. Just one coat. I think that should be good, just to keep the glue from, seeping up top there. And it's just good to seal it. I'll probably put a couple more coats on the neck as well. Anyway, like on the fretboard, and that alone might help keep the frets down. I don't know, like with the the tongue oil seeping in as well, because it's pretty thin stuff, so it might help keep the frets, like go into the slots and keep them down. But I'm still gonna use the crazy glue. Sorry, I'm not in. All right. Okay, I'll finish these off and get back to you. Another thing I like to do. This is my fret cutting slaw, and it's got a depth stopper on here. This one is from Stumac. Again, I think CB Giddy sells these as well, and you can get them other places. But it basically, it's got a 23 kerf blade in it, so it's the right size for the slots. I do my fretboards. I call it Del Puckett style or whatever. I've got the little mini fret cutting saw with the I guess it's called a sled on it, and I cut them. And so I pre-do a bunch, like when I set up, and I have a whole bunch of fretboards cut. I don't even know what this one's called. Look at that weird wood. So I got rosewood, I got poplar, I got the Home Depot, I got the Lowe's, and I do it in a few different sizes too. Like I have a 24-inch width. I don't know if I explained. When I make my 3 strings, I make them the width of the ruler, and then if it's a four string, I don't trim the neck width at all. I leave it that extra. I think it's an extra 1/8 of an inch. The 4 strings are. So I actually make my fretboards intentionally for a 3 string or a 4 string. I pre-cut them, and I've got probably 20 cut. It's just nice when you have all the machines set up, and you have the material. You might as well cut a bunch. So one afternoon, a friend of mine, John, he encouraged me. I was out in the garage, and I was running out of steam. And I said, "What should he do?" He goes, "I would finish what you're doing." So anyway, I did like 20. So now I got, whenever I build guitars right now, I've got lots and lots of fretboards ready to go. And I was thinking of selling some of these too, like just for people that wanna, because it is really the hardest part of building these things is getting the frets right. So I may offer these for sale, some of these at a later date. But anyway, so. What I like to do is just before I go to put the frets in, I like to make sure that the slots are clear, because stuff falls in there, and if there's anything in there, or glue, little pieces of glue, like when you're gluing the fretboard on, might get stuck in the fret. So what I like to do is just kind of just to make sure, I just take my fret saw, and I just run it through a couple times just to make sure the slots are all cleared out like this. I basically do the whole, every one of them. And then that way, when I go to press them in, they'll just sit in there nicely. They won't get bound up on any glue or anything like that. All right. Now I use medium frets for all the frets except for the one in the end. I use a jumbo fret, aka the Dell method. Anyway, seriously, yeah. So I have some pre-cut jumbo frets here. So there we go. There's my jumbo. So now I got them all. Okay, couple more things. This is called a neck cull. This is what I use to sit the neck in while I'm doing the fretting. It's not perfect. Sometimes, depending on the neck, this one's maybe a little bit too long. Should probably cut an inch off it or so, and it'd be more useful. But anyway, it's cork lined, and I use it to hold the necks while I'm putting the frets in. Other thing you're going to need is a fret hammer. You can get these from this one. Again, it's from StewMac. Most of the tools I have, my wife bought me for Christmas 25 years ago. She's awesome. And so it's got a brass end and a some kind of plastic end. That's lead. So if you're afraid of lead, watch out. The other thing I need as I'm getting older, my eyes used to be perfect. I never needed glasses. I could read the smallest of writing. And now I can't. After I rounded 40, my eyes got worse. So this is a little magnifying visor that I'll wear, and just so I can really get a good eye on what's going on with the how the frets are seating. Okay, so we come over to the this is my drill press. I've got this is a I don't know if you can see it, but it's a fret press from, again, StewMac. You can get them all over from anywhere, Amazon or whatever. Just the quality of these are really good. This one's also self-leveling. I noticed some of the ones on Amazon are not. It's just straight. And so just if when you're working on the neck and it's kind of cockeyed or whatever, this just helps to make sure that they get equal pressure when the frets go in. Another thing is they have these little brass culls in here, and you're going to need to buy a flat one. The set from StewMac doesn't come with a flat one, so I found this on just on Amazon. It's Music Lily. They own like Wilkinson and a bunch of brands now. Anyway, that's who I got that one from, and it fits perfectly. It works great, and it's straight. It's flat. So I tried putting them in with curved ones, and it's not good. It's not your friend. So anyways, so first off, we're gonna need to hammer in some of the frets. I don't have a lot of space over there, so I'm gonna do it on my desk. So just let me I'll move the camera on just a sec. All right, so I am about to put in some frets here. So like I said, what I like to do is just I'll hammer them in, not all the way. Actually, with this wood, it's so soft that it probably will go all the way. But I will definitely go over to the fret press and do a final, just make sure they're seated properly. So basically I'm making sure that the tang is right perpendicular to the slot, or is that perpendicular? No, I don't know. Anyways, and before I hit it in, because otherwise you can mangle the slot while you're doing that, and not that I've ever done that. Yes, I have. So anyway, so I'm just gonna pound these in. I'll just pause it so you don't have to watch me do the whole board. All right. Okay, this is my my drill press converted into a fret press. Eventually, I'm going to buy a arbor press and make a fret press out of it, a dedicated fret press, and then I'm gonna have like my plan is to have a little fretting station, so I'm not moving everything around all the time, and then that way I'll be able to use my drill press as a drill press when I want to, and not mistakenly turn it on and spin that to chuck around and hit me. kill me. Anyways, so why I like to use a fret press is because you have better control over the seating of the fret onto the fretboard. When you're hammering, if you're hammering too hard, you can basically you can crush the fretboard. If you're hammering too light, the frets will be high and you'll get more buzzing and stuff. So basically, using a fret press, you're going to have a more uniform height of the of your frets. So basically, they'll all be at the same level, and you'll have little or no need to do even fret dressing or whatever to make it play ultimately. Is that the right word? Anyways, so all right, so I'm gonna just show you what I'm doing here. So I just start at the first fret, I move it over. I try to get it as level as possible. This thing sometimes wanders, like because it's a drill press. So you want to have it so it's basically 90 degrees, or not 90 degrees, like 0 degrees, I guess, with the fret. So anyway, so what I do is I basically bring the fret press down. Try to have it centered if you can everywhere, like on the fret, and then the problem is it's too low the bass. Just a second, I'm just gonna have to raise this up a little bit. There we go. That should be better. So yeah, basically I use my finger on the back side to kind of guide it so that it's centered. You don't want to miss the fret and crush things. So I'm doing it very lightly with this because this wood is very cheap. And now, so some people have had trouble with their frets popping out using these fretboards, and so the cure to that is the crazy glue, or CA glue. That I'm gonna show you how I do that. But basically, I'm seating them down now, all of them. And it's a feel thing. You can actually feel it biting. Not as much with this fretboard. Like I said, it's quite soft. So you just don't, once you feel the resistance on this, you just kind of stop. And so I'm not pressing too hard. And also normally on a harder fretboard, there's a little overhang here. I don't know if you can see it, but right here where there's nothing supporting it, because this fretboard is so soft, I'm not going to need it. Like, it's not going to, but normally I'll put a piece of wood that fits right under here, just so that it's not cranking on the fret, cranking down on the fretboard. So you don't need to see all this. All right. Okay. So this is where I glue the frets in. So I've pressed all the frets in. Actually, let me just do one quick check first, just to see that everything they all look nicely seated. And that there's no frets that look too high. No, they look pretty good. So anyway, I'm ready to glue them in now. So I use it's called CA glue. I can't remember what it stands for. Actually, it'll probably be on here. Cyanoacrylate. Basically crazy glue. So what I do is I just put a little drop, and you should control it better than I am. But you just put a little tiny drop right in where the fret tang is, the little slot there, just under the fret. And what it'll do, it'll literally run down the little channel right to the other side of the fret. You'll if you look on the other side when we flip it over, not all of them, some of them, you'll see it leaking out the bottom. And so what this does, it glues the tang to the fretboard, but it also stiffens up the fretboard, because it gets into the little fibers, and it stiffens them up, and you get better tone. You won't have these these things popping out. Just a sec, my puppy is at the door. I'm gonna have to let him in just a sec. Okay. Yeah. So I turned it over. I'm gonna do it from this side now. Just a little dab. It'll run down the channel, and it basically helps to glue the fret to the fretboard, but it also stiffens the fibers around the around the fret and the tang, and it'll just make for just delicious tone, I'm sure. I'm just going to do it one more time on each side just to make sure that we got a good application. Another one. You can see it just soaking into the fibers here, just on the side. Yeah, so I picked up this glue. I don't know where you get it. Maybe on Amazon too, I don't know. But I got it at a local hobby shop here called Great Hobbies. It's in Ottawa, and it's an awesome hobby shop if you're into anything RC. It's a place to go. That's where I buy all my glue from. Might be more expensive than other places, I don't know, but I like to support the local guys, so. Right. They have an huge online business. If you need it shipped, you can order. Actually, there's no prices when you go into the store. It's all, you have to go up to this little scanner, and it's basically the website. So you get to see the same as me. All right, so I've glued the frets in. I'm just gonna give it a little chance to dry, and then I will. We're gonna cut these frets off with the nipper, and do a little filing and stuff like that. I'll show you my process, and hopefully it'll help you in making your builds better. I'll be back in a sec. Actually, it'll really be a sec for you guys. Okay, now I'm ready. I've got my fret nippers. Not nippers. What are these called? Cutters. These are basically brand new. I've only done a couple guitars on them, so they're pretty sharp. So basically, I'm going to go right to the edge, get as close as I can to the side of the fretboard. Pop. Gonna do this on each fret. See, cuts like butter. My other one was my other pair were not this sharp, and so I would fight with it a little bit, and the more you have to fight, the more chances you have of, moving the fret around or pulling it out or whatever, So, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna flip it over, do the other side, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got both sides done. They're nice. It's nice and close to the fretboard. But what we want to do is make sure that the sides of our fretboard is nice and smooth, and you don't get caught, on the edges of the fretboard, because that is not good. That's no fun. So basically, I'm going to take this file. You can just use a regular, it's called a bastard file, I believe, for lack of a better name, and it's a nice fine-tooth file. This is a nice little holder that my dad made for me 20-something years ago. Still using it. It's got magnets in it, so it pops out and I can flip it around, and really cool. So I understand not everyone has or had a father that was a tool maker, but I did. So anyways, but you can just use a flat file, or you can buy a special one. It's got a flat file on one end and then an angled one on another for what I'm going to show you, the two things. So this is basically I'm going to use to make sure that the frets are all even with the fretboard, and that will make it so we don't catch when we go to play. So. And once you get it down, you can hear it. Like now, I'm pretty close to being where I need to be. You can tell by the sound when it stops grinding on frets and goes like that. That means you're pretty much ready. So that side's done. I'm gonna do the other side. See how handy this little vise is I got? You should get one. Called a parrot vise. You can check it out on, I think the place I found out about it was called frets.com. Old website from the 90s, I think. It hasn't been updated in a while, but it's got lots of, if you're interested in doing guitar repair or building or whatever, it's got lots and lots of stuff. Okay, so basically the sides are now filed down so that they won't catch on it. Now this is the tricky part. One of the tricky part. Well, yeah, the tricky part, I guess. They do sell a special file that has an angle built into it, and all you have to do is basically the same thing as we just did. But what it does is it puts a nice beveled edge on the edge of the fret. Now I just use this tool. I've used it. This same tool for 20 years, so I'm not changing the way I do it, but you may want to look into one. Again, StewMac has them. I'm pretty sure CB Giddy has them, and again, probably Amazon, and there's maybe some other places that sell the fret end file or whatever with the angle and the straight one. So check it out, okay? But like I said, if not, you can just pick up a regular flat file. I've got this fancy holder which makes it nice, but you can just use it by hand if you want, and some people prefer that. So anyway, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice little bevel on the side, the edge of the fret, so it has a nice, a nice feel to it, where it's not, you're not going to catch. It just feels nicer. You're not hitting the fret as your hand slides by and stuff like that. So now what I do, I kind of just do it by eye. I'm not even sure what angle this is. Is it 45, 35? I don't know, but like I said, it's just by eye, and what I'm doing is just knocking the corner off the fret, like that. Again, you can kind of tell it's done by the sound. Like right now, it's getting close. There we go. Okay. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's a nice little angle that I put on there, and like I said, I I don't know what angle it is, but um, on those files, if you look them up, it'll tell you what angle they recommend. This is the Rich Stewart angle, I guess. I don't know. So I'll do the other side, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I got both sides done now. They both have a nice little angle. You don't want the angle to be too steep, because you're actually taking away playing area on the top of the fret. You know, like you're basically narrowing the fretboard a little bit. And on 3-string guitars, you have enough room. Maybe on a 4-string or whatever, if it's a little more cramped area, you'd have trouble. But sometimes on a 6-string, yeah, if you do that too close, you'll end up playing some chords or whatever, and the string will like slide off the end of the fretboard. So this causes a lot of little metal filings. So you're gonna want to vacuum your table and your work surface. You don't want to leave that lying around, because you'll end up getting in your skin and stuff. I'm constantly bleeding from doing fretwork. I don't know if this is from, no, that was from before, but I magically start bleeding somewhere on my hand. I'll get a cut, and then I'll bleed on your guitar, and you'll have my DNA forever. Okay, so this is the cool trick. This trick, my friend Larry taught me 20 years ago on how to do fret ends quickly and easily, and they look really nice. Okay, you can use files to do this, and if you look on the Stu Mac video, they'll a lot of times they recommend that you use files. Now maybe that's because they want to sell you more files. I don't know, but they also. But I noticed I watched the updated video, and they are also using something very similar to what I'm going to show you, except there's more. They recommending using more what do you call it? Gauges, not gauges. What's it called? Like different grits on their pads. So they sell like a, I don't know, micro something pad, and it's got basically what these things do. This is the these sanding blocks. These ones are from Norton. There's a bunch of different companies that make them. Get the finest I could find was 220. So that's what I've been using. But what you do is and these get wrecked when you do this. Like, I have to refresh these, and I just bought some new ones. Actually, maybe I'll use one of my old ones. You can just see every once in a while they get like little. See how they're starting to get worn out there. So, but anyway, what you do is you basically take this and you go on the same kind of angle that you just put on the end of the fret. You basically just run this back and forth. Now it does scratch the top of the fret a little bit, and so you can use like some 4-aught, it's called, like the 4-0 steel wool, the super fine stuff. So you can use that to kind of polish up the fret if you want. That's one thing I want to update my game on my fretwork, is just to learn how to do super sweet polishing and getting them like a mirror finish. So Brian of Hot Sauce Guitar Kitchen has encouraged me to up my game as well as he's upping his game. By the way, you can thank him for this video because he was the one that encouraged me to do this. But what this is also doing is it's wearing the edge of the fretboard a little bit. It's breaking it in, and so it feels like it's been played before. You know, when you pick up a guitar that's old and it's been worn in, how it just feels really nice. So it's basically knocking a bit of the edge off here, and so that helps make it feel better when you go to play it. So basically, you just run this across a few times. You don't have to. This one's kind of dull. That's why I'm doing so many. But if you use the new one, it makes quick work. It makes quick work of this job. See, hear that? Hear the difference? Yeah, so we're knocking the edge off the fretboard itself, but also what that's doing is it's knocking the sharp edges off the ends of the frets. So when you go to play it, it's going to feel really, really nice. Now I've kind of dirtied my fretboard here, but that's okay because these things, part of it is looks cool when they're kind of rustic looking. Now you're going, Rich, you didn't do the 0 fret. You're right. So I leave that to the end. I put that one in last. A lot of times with the 0 fret, I just hammer it in. I don't necessarily press it in. I use a jumbo fret to do it. I do the same process. I cut it, but sometimes what I'll do to do the angle, I have a one of those little belt sanders, you know, it's like an inch wide belt sander, or you can do it on a grinder if you're careful. And I'll just I'll just go up to the sander and go jeet, jeet, and just put that little bevel just on the edge. You got to be really careful because you don't want to hit the fretboard and cut into the fretboard. But yeah, so I will do the 0 fret last. The reason being, it was funny because it was on the first one or the second one I built. I was doing the thing with the files, and when it hit the last one, it literally knocked. I don't know if you can see it from this camera angle. It knocked this piece off, like the last bit. It knocked it off, so I had to glue it on and whatever. And so yeah, so you wanna do that. One other thing I do sometimes is I call it kissing the tops off. So this is a cheap man's version of a fret level. So I basically will take one of these blocks, and I'll use this one actually, and I just do this. I just do a little, just really lightly, and what that does is I call it kissing the tops. It literally is just, if there's any high spots, it's knocking them off. It's knocking them down a little bit, and then you'll get less fret buzz. Now by doing this, I am putting a little bit of you're losing a little bit of that mirrored finish. So, I didn't finish the story. Anyway, after getting off the phone with Brian, I decided to order myself some new tools. He's ordering some new tools so that he can follow my lesson here to get her done. But I got some fret polishing stuff. I got some fret polishing wheels. I just ordered them from Stuback. They're supposed to ship on Monday. Some they're like these micro sticks, and you just run them across the frets, and they got different grits on them for polishing. What else I get? Anyway, I got a few things, but basically stuff that I need to up my game. Oh, the other thing that I got. Now you don't really need these too much for cigar box guitars, but if you're doing other guitar work, these are a must. You got to get these things. These are from StewMac. You can buy your cheaper ones on Amazon or whatever, but these are 25 years old, and they're just they've been wearing out for a little bit. I probably should have bought a new set, maybe last year or the year before or whatever, but I can still use them, but they're getting a little dull. And these are nut slotting files, and there's they're like kind of got a V groove on them, and there's all the different string sizes, and they're double-sided. So I just like for this is like the starter pack for guitar. I also have ones for bass and stuff like that. So you definitely want to get those. If you're doing nuts, you want to get one of these. This is like it's smooth here, and then it's got a rough file here, and then a smooth file here, and it's for doing if you're putting a bone nut, it's for doing the leveling that. And I've used this thing a lot while making real guitars, and even these guitars, I shouldn't refer to these as not real guitars because they are real guitars, but I should say 6-string and 3-string cigar box. But anyway, that's it. That's like I said, we can polish these up a little bit. I use a lot of times I'll just use this stuff, the 4/0 steel wool, and I'll just go across the frets this way. the other way. This is also good if you're cleaning your, like when you change your strings. It's good to clean your frets too, and you can use steel wool to do that. Gets rid of all the gunk. Anyway, there we go, and I hope you learned something there. And that's the way I do them. These all my guitars play really nice. There's no no buzzing. They play straight away. I try to make sure I start with a straight fretboard first. Like eye it, use a straight edge to make sure it's level from the get go. I've had some that aren't, and so I'll use this thing here, my leveler, like this. I'll put this in the vise, and then I'll run the neck back and forth. And what you do to make sure you got it all level is you take a pencil, and I know this is going a little bit overboard from the fretting, but basically you take a pencil and you go like this across the fretboard. You just mark it. And what you do is when you do the leveling, the high spots will get erased first. Like basically the pencil marks will get sanded off, and the low spots will stay. The pencil marks will stay on the board. So what you got to do is keep putting pencil on the spots that gets sanded off, and then when you're finally done, basically you will see all the pencil marks, all the squiggles getting affected by the sanding block. And once you get to that point, your neck's straight, and that's what you want to do. Like I said, I did not do it with this one. I just took my chances. The neck itself was pretty straight. This ruler, whatever, was pretty straight, and it did turn out, like when I eye it, it looks like it's going to be fine. So, and again, this is the lady that's I'm making this for. She said it doesn't even need to play. It's going to hang on a wall, which is sad, but I'm hoping somebody will pick it up off the wall and play it someday, and they'll go, "Ooh, is that ever nice?" So I'm not making any guitars that I wouldn't play myself. So that's the way it goes. So hope that helps everybody, and we will see you next time. How do you like my doop doop? All right, we'll see you later.